Broadcasting from GCTV Studios, welcome to Twig. I'm Colleen Roy.
And I'm Amy Marr, and instead of recapping the past week in meetings, we have a special guest today.
I'm Mark Haddad, Chair of the Grafton Finance Committee, and I'm very happy to be here with these two ladies. Are you happy to have me?
Of course, Mr. Haddad. I'm so happy to have you.
Just checking, thank you.
So the reason we have the Chair of the Finance Committee with us tonight is because he's also going to include all of the Finance Committee recommendations for each of the articles as we review both the special town meeting and the annual town meeting warrant. So we'll start with the special town meeting, and we'll give it off to Mark to give us some information.
So the special town meeting, thank you. I should have said thank you to start, so thank you very much.
Okay.
And thank you for having me.
Here.
It's very nice to be here. And congratulations on being appointed chair.
Thank
you're
you.
Vice chair.
Yes, I am.
A lot of
and
cheers.
you're chair.
There's a lot of cheers here.
I
like that.
Look at all the
So
chairs.
the special town meeting warrant, for those of you who aren't familiar with town meeting, is used to take care of business within the current fiscal year, which is fiscal 21. And there are a lot of standard articles here, transfers within the budget, unpaid bills that have to be paid, and things like that. So we have decided to do the entire special town meeting warrant by consent agenda. There are 10 articles on the warrant, and we're going to make one motion to approve all 10 articles at once. And then that way, that'll move the meeting along. It's all routine business. One motion will be made to approve all 10 articles, and then we'll get right back into the annual town meeting warrant. So that's how that's going to work. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense.
Saves a ton of time.
It saves a ton of time.
Love the consent agenda.
Consent agendas are the greatest thing since sliced bread, from what I've heard.
Pretty good. And that's going to carry over into the annual town meeting, where we'll start off with yet another consent agenda.
And those first 11 articles on the warrant are also on a consent agenda because those are standard routine articles that happen every year, such as accepting the reports, appointing somebody to the Nelson Memorial Library Building Fund Committee, the various CPA grants that have to happen, if there are more unpaid bills that have to happen, allowing the treasurer to borrow money on behalf of the town and things like that. So the first 11 articles are very standard, and we're going to do those by consent agenda as well. But the important thing to point out that I should have said before about the consent agenda is that if there's a particular article within the consent agenda that people want to debate, they can hold it, pull it out, and vote on it separately. So you do not lose your rights as a voter if you have a specific issue on a current article, on a particular article, but it does allow the meeting to move quicker so that we're not spending time reading motions where there's going to be no debate because it's a routine article, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
That does make perfect sense. We don't want to sit out in the sun any longer than we have to.
It's going to be 87 degrees and sunny.
On the field, it'll be more like 95 degrees.
That's a good point.
Bring water.
Bring a lot of water.
Lots of water.
So we'll start with Article 12 in this review that we're doing with you guys today. So Article 12 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer and appropriate any sum of money as necessary to defer the expense of the town for the ensuing fiscal year at the period of July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 as outlined in Appendix A, or take any other action relative thereto. What would the Finance Committee have to say about that?
The Finance Committee, I will have to say, I've been on the Finance Committee, I'm into my 4th year, and this is the annual operating budget. It's about, $67 million, I believe. And the process this year was outstanding. We had several meetings with the temporary town administrator and the current new town administrator, Mr. Broussard, and the flow of information was phenomenal. I would say this is probably the most detailed, most reviewed budget with a lot of input from the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee is in full support and unanimously recommends approval of this budget. It gives the school committee what they need to operate their budget. It gives the various town departments, including the fire department, what they need to operate under the new strong chief that was just approved at the annual election. And I have to say that both Mr. Terenzini and Mr. Broussard did a great job putting this budget together, and the Finance Committee reviewed everything, and we are in full support of this budget. So we hope the taxpayers will support the budget. Most importantly, too, is that we did use a portion of the override to fund the budget, as was when the town appropriated that and approved that last year. And we are trying to spread the override out as long as possible to maintain services, and I think this budget does a good job doing that. So I hope everybody supports the budget as presented.
Great.
Perfect. So Article 13 is to see if the town will vote to borrow funds for the replacement of Engine 1 of the Grafton Fire Department as outlined in Appendix B, or take any other relative action thereto.
So that article, I think you should probably talk about Articles 13 and 14 because that's actually the capital budget. And this is the first year, and again, I'm going to be probably saying the first time since I've been on the Finance Committee that we've done this, but the Capital Planning Advisory Committee worked hand in hand with the town administrator to put together a really good capital plan this year. There was a lot of support from the school department with regards to what was on the capital plan for them, as well as the select board. And this capital budget does use a portion of the override that was approved for the capital plan, as well as free cash. And I think it puts in place the first time in many years that there's a detailed plan to carry us out for the next several years. So the Finance Committee tips their hat to both the Select Board and the Capital Planning Advisory Committee. Is that what we call them? Am I confusing
Capital
my
Improvement
towns?
Planning Committee.
Capital Improvement Planning Committee. I'm sorry, I'm confusing
It's okay.
Groton with Grafton, and I apologize. But this is the first year that you're seeing the real good work of that committee, along with the town administrator. So kudos to them as well. And the Finance Committee, again, is in unanimous support of this article as well.
Okay.
These two articles, I should
Yeah,
say.
so I'll skip over reading 14 because he just recapped that really well. So Article 15 is to approve the budget that we give to Blackstone Valley Tech every year.
And the Finance Committee unanimously supports that budget as well.
Okay. Article 16 is the same thing.
We're going to pass over Article 16, according to this.
Well, what ended up happening, just really briefly, is Article 16 was put on the warrant because they were going to do the debt service and the operating budget separately, and they decided to do it in one article. So 15 is the budget, 16 does not have to be done.
Fantastic.
Article 17 is also to be passed over, the unemployment compensation account.
There's plenty of money in this year's operating budget to cover that. We do not need to fund it separately.
Awesome. Oh, we're moving right through this.
Keep going.
So Article 18 says to see if the town will vote to sell a parcel of land located at 127 Old Westboro Road for its current fair market value or to take any other action relative to thereto. This requires a 2/3 vote.
Yeah, anytime you need to transfer land, but this is property that it was taken in tax title and we're turning it over to the abutter, allowing us to sell it to the abutter, I believe. Maybe? No? I think that's what that is. The Finance Committee does support that.
Okay.
I'm having fun with this.
Article 19 says to see if the town will vote to appropriate a sum of money to fund the Grafton Community Television budget, as recommended by the Cable Oversight Committee in the amount of $335,000, or take any other action relative thereto.
Obviously, that's a very important budget because we wouldn't be doing this, right, if that wasn't there. All the money to support this budget comes from the cable fees that are received through the various bills that you pay when you have either Verizon or Charter spectrum in this town. So Finance Committee unanimously supports that article as well.
Awesome. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer funds in the amount of $79,000 from the cable project account for the purpose of paying debt service or take any other action relative thereto.
Again, that's because of this beautiful studio that we're broadcasting from tonight. That pays the debt service on this project, comes from cable fees, and the Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Ooh, Article 21 is to accept a hydrant from the Grafton Water District, number 709 on Worcester Street at number 86.
Those are nice hydrants.
Yeah, they're beautiful hydrants, and why we have to do that each year, I have no idea, but apparently we need to adopt the hydrants, and we support that.
Awesome. Article 22 says to see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer the sum of $100,000 from the sewer retained earnings account to an account entitled Plant Upgrade/Expansion.
Yeah, that's the sewer department is self-sufficient. It's an enterprise fund. Anything that happens within that is paid for by the sewer. So this is a capital project for the sewer department. They have enough money in their retained earnings to pay for it. Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Article 23, to see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer the sum of $100,000 from the sewer retained earnings account entitled Inflow and Infiltration Inspection and Repair.
That's a very important article because what that does is it inspects the pipes to make sure that rainwater and other things aren't getting into the sewer system, and it allows them to fix those pipes. So this is a very important article, and again, paid for through sewer rates. Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Article 24 is another appropriate and transfer sum of $150,000 of the sewer retained earnings account, and this is for major equipment repair replacement.
Yeah, similar to the article that sets the capital budget for the town, this sets the capital budget for the sewer department, and it gives them the ability to buy, I think this particular year they're going to be buying a new truck with that money. So again, the Finance Committee unanimously supports that, and kudos to the Sewer Commission and the DPW Superintendent for putting together a really good budget.
Article 25 is to see if the town will accept the donation of real estate on the parcel known as 59 Pleasant Street. So what this was a parcel of land on 59 Pleasant Street where the person buying the land wanted to donate the back half to the town so that they would link all of the open spaces together. And the Finance Committee.
Unanimously supports that.
Article 26.
The Finance Committee was in a very agreeable mood this year. As
You
you're
guys
seeing.
clearly loved this warrant.
Great warrant from the Select Board and the Town Administrator.
All right, I got to read 26 here.
Oh, I can tell you exactly what that does. This particular Article 26 is allowing the Town Administrator and the School Committee to enter into contracts without having to go back to the Select Board or anybody else. It just allows for the day-to-day operations. If there's a bid that goes out for a particular project in town, it allows the Town Administrator to implement that project under his, it's a day-to-day operational issue without slowing things down. So this is something new, and I think it's great. And as a matter of fact, the Finance Committee called it Evan taking over the town, but it really isn't.
Don't include that.
Please don't put that in.
We like Evan.
I
Because
thought that was funny.
I didn't introduce it.
You didn't think that was funny? I did.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he said, well,
I thought Evan taking over the town was funny. I said that on camera live at the meeting, but that's all right.
Yeah, but nobody watches Finance Committee meetings,
That's a good point. Nobody does.
except us.
But they're good meetings.
They are great
They're
meetings.
very entertaining.
So Article 27 starts with the CPC articles, and it's to make the Pell Farm payment of $66,500 on their $1.2 million bond.
Yep, I believe it's a 13th payment of 20 for the project.
Yes.
So the Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
So Article 28 is another CPC article, debt service payment for the Grafton Townhouse, and this is in the amount of $75,600.
Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Article 29 is to see if they will extend the sunset provision to expire on June 30th, 2021 for the previously approved $45,000 CPA funds to create an interior plan drawing and architectural specifications for the interior reservations of the Cisco Homestead property.
So basically, with that article is there was a provision in the original vote that would make it expire after a certain amount of time. They're not done with the project yet. This allows it to continue. Finance Committee unanimously supports that.
Article 30 seems to be something similar. It's to extend the sunset provision for $41,500 for design and engineering work for recreational upgrades at the Grafton Lions Club, Dauphiné Park.
Exact same thing. There was a provision to have it expire. This allows it to continue. Finance Committee unanimously supports that.
We have another sunset provision for the restoration of the 1848 Howard and Davis scale and cabinet in the amount of $10,000.
Finance Committee supports that project. It's a CPA project that was approved by the committee and recommended to town meeting. Finance Committee supports that.
This one seems to be a little different. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $175,835 from the budgeted reserve for the addition of outdoor bathrooms for public use, including a septic system at the Grafton Lions Club, Dauphiné Park.
Again, that's a project that was presented to the CPC. They supported it. They bring it at the town meeting. It's a good project. You've got to have bathrooms at facilities. Finance Committee unanimously supports that.
Article 33, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $17,000 from the CPA undesignated fund for scientific field investigation of aquatic alien invasive weed infestation and contaminants of Flint and Hovey ponds and the portion of the Quinsigamon River connecting them.
Yep, another good project using funds to help protect the environment, get rid of invasive species. Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Article 34, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $32,500 from the CPA undesignated fund for the engineering, site work, and landscape design.
That article's going to be passed over.
Oh, let me do it again.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Nope, good catch. I didn't read ahead. So Article 34 is another CPC article, but this one's going to be passed over.
Correct. It was withdrawn by the applicant.
Okay. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw.
Yeah, so there's a MS4 permit that the town has to comply with every year. You have to comply with stormwater regulations from both the state and the federal government. This brings our bylaw into compliance with that and allows the town to do what they need to do to comply with the permit. So the Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
You guys had a really easy go of it, didn't you?
This year, I have to tell you, the Finance Committee was very agreeable because they were good articles. Everything is in the best of intentions of the town.
Perfect. Article 36 is to see if the town will vote to transfer the care of land at 46 Adams Road from the Select Board to the Conservation Commission.
Yeah, that's a property that makes more sense to have under the control of the Conservation Commission, and the Finance Committee unanimously supports that article.
Article 37 is to see if the town will vote to accept the donation of real property known as number 4 Millennium Drive, currently owned by the Worcester Business Development Council, and to designate it as open space under the care of the Conservation Commission.
One caveat to that article is that it's as long as it passes the environmental sniff test, that there's no environmental issues, then the town will take it. If they find a problem, this gives the right to do it, but we will only do it if there are no environmental issues. So the Finance Committee supports that article based on that fact.
It doesn't say that.
Hold.
What does that say right there?
Pending favorable results of...
What did I just say?
It totally says that.
So, Mark, Articles 38 and 39 are very wordy and a little confusing. Do you think you could explain those for us?
Yeah, very, very briefly, they allow for various exemptions for our veterans, current people serving in the armed forces, blind, elderly, things like that. It allows for additional tax relief to those citizens. So those are very important articles, and the Finance Committee unanimously recommends those articles.
Oh, great. Thank you. Article 40 is to see if the town will vote to repeal Article 39, Section 2 of the general bylaws, which have to do with the number of recreational marijuana retailers in town.
Yeah, this particular article, I think the Finance Committee had made a recommendation when we were doing the budget review to the town administrator that we may want to increase revenue, find a way to increase revenue. A great way to do that is to increase the number of marijuana retail facilities in town. And we asked the Finance Committee, because we were concerned about the budget, asked that we added an additional license, considering that there were 3 before the town right now, instead of having 1 cut out. So we've asked to increase it to 3. I hope the town supports that.
Economic Development Committee also supported that as well.
I think they're the ones that actually submitted it based on the recommendation from the Finance Committee. But the Finance Committee is really behind this.
Great. Article 41, to see if the town will vote to allow the Select Board to dispose of the property at 17 and 27 Upton Street, known as the DPW Garage and Wood Barn. I feel like I've seen this one before.
Yeah, there was a mistake in the article when it was originally approved. They left off one of the parcels.
17.
Parcel 17 that is part of the overall old DPW. So this is more of a housekeeping article than anything else. So obviously the Finance Committee supports that.
Great. Article 42 we're going to pass over because it looks like...
That was a citizen's petition that was improperly submitted, so we needed to... They fixed it by submitting 2 additional articles, right? I believe.
Is that the one? Okay.
I believe that is the one.
That is the one. So Article 43 is to amend Article 20 of the 419 Personnel Bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Grafton by removing Columbus Day and replacing it with Indigenous Peoples Day.
The Finance Committee was not, that's the one article that the Finance Committee was not in unanimous support of, but the Finance Committee is recommending passage of that article.
Okay. And Article 44 is to amend the same personnel bylaw to add the holiday Juneteenth between Memorial Day and Independence Day, so that's June 19th, to align with the Massachusetts state holiday.
And the Finance Committee unanimously supports that.
Great. And then it looks like Article 45 is going to be passed over, and that brings us to the end of the warrant.
Do you think town meeting will go this fast on Saturday?
No,
No?
I don't.
I feel like we should maybe predict how long this is going to take. We
Do you want to have a pool?
Yeah.
start at 11.
I would like to guess how many people and how long it'll take.
Okay, I'm going to guess 250 people is my recommendation. Is that your number?
252 now. Okay.
All right.
Price is right.
I'm going to go lower. I'm going to say 200.
Oh,
200 people.
And I think we'll be done by 1 o'clock.
well,
Oh, I don't know.
No?
no.
No.
2:30 is the best time of day. I'm going to go with, but that seems late.
You
But
think
I'm
it's
going to
gonna
go
take-
with 2:30
All
because,
right.
you know, what time do you go to the dentist?
I think we'll be on air wrapping this up. 2:30, ladies and gentlemen.
2:30.
She's a comedian. I think we'll be on air recapping the town meeting at 1:30.
Okay.
Can I agree? Can I change my time to agree with Amy?
1:30?
1:30.
It's going to be so awesome when we're sitting here at 2:30.
So that's all we've got for today. 1/2 hour after town meeting ends, we will be live on the air to recap what happened, who voted which way, what articles passed, what articles failed, and if anybody needed to go to the hospital.
Which has happened. That's a thing.
It is a thing. We don't want that to happen.
No.
So stay hydrated, dress for the weather. It's going to be hot. Bring a hat, bring an umbrella, whatever you need. Bring the kids. It's probably the last time we'll be allowed to have kids at a town meeting, right?
I would say that's probably
Say
correct.
that's probably true. So I hope that my prediction is wrong, and we'll see 250 people on Saturday at 11 a.m.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
We've got meetings to watch.